Hi, it's great to be here. Can someone tell me if you can see me, if everything's on? Otherwise I'm just going to start. Okay, let's just move this around a bit. Hi Shani. Hi Ashley. Hi Rachel. Hey. Okay. Awesome. Okay, welcome. Thank you for inviting me to be here. So let's just, before we start anything, just settle here. Take a breath, close our eyes, feel ourselves sitting on the ground, on the earth, feeling our legs beneath us. Breathing into our whole bodies, feeling our spines lifting up. Feeling the breath traveling through and noticing any sounds around us. Feeling any sensations on our skin. Connecting our internal with our external. Connecting to the earth beneath us, holding us. And slowly opening our eyes. Hi everyone. It's great to be here. It's great to see you all. So I am talking today about the Eternal Shabbat. I'm going to share a little bit about how this came to me, and then we'll do kind of some internal work with it, and take it to the collective. Okay. So hi Natal. Okay. So I grew up as part of a quite a religious, although very open and very liberal family. So I grew up practicing Shabbat, and kind of, I guess, took it for granted that we had this time in the week where we stopped everything and we came together as a family. And as a child, it's not so fun, you know. It's kind of boring. To not be able to watch TV, to not use the phone, to not listen to music. But I did notice even then that I had a lot of non-Jewish friends who would love coming over to our house for Shabbat dinner, because it was something that they didn't get to experience, that being together as a family. Then for many years, from the time that I moved to Israel, I completely disconnected with this part of myself. I didn't keep Shabbat for myself. I didn't do any Jewish practices. And this was a time I feel that I was exploring my deeper spirituality and the different ways of connecting to that through many different traditions. What I was especially drawn to through this exploration was in Buddhism the idea of meditation, and especially emptiness meditation. I remember hearing about when Eckhart Tolle became enlightened, he sat on a park bench for 2 years and just observed the world. And to do that, to really experience that without any self-judgment around it, without needing to do anything, is such a challenge. In the last, I guess, for about 2 years ago, I started to feel drawn back to Jewish practice, to Jewish spiritual practice. And this came in very subtle ways, in ways that didn't need any resistance from me, in ways that gave me tingles through my body, that showed me there's something here for me. And a week before I met Yaniv, who's now my husband, who has been studying Kabbalah for the last 10 years and very deeply within Jewish practice. So a week before I met him, I was in Adama, an eco-village in the north, and a friend of mine there, I celebrated Shabbat with them. And he said, he described Shabbat as sitting in the lap of God. That throughout the week, we have 6 days of playing God, like of being the creator. The 6 days of creation, we're doing, we're inspired, we're adjusting the world around us, we're fixing, we're however we want to call it, but we're adapting the world, we're putting ourselves into the world. And then on Shabbat we get to sit back and sit on the lap of God. So it's like taking this perspective, like of looking at the world, looking at our creations, and looking at what has been created for us through the eyes of perfection, seeing that there is nothing missing, that everything is as it should be, that there's nothing left to do. And as God says in the creation story, on Friday night, like every day he says, he looked at his work and it was good. And on Friday night, he looked at his work and it was very good. There's lots of Kabbalic discussion around this, that actually the very good also means death. Because in its perfection, it's like, what more can come after that? You need to die and be reborn. So there's something about Shabbat that is like the closure, the ending of something. Like all the work has been done, now sit back, now enjoy it, now observe it, and then we start again. So there's also, at the same time as this pleasure of it and this appreciation of it, there's also a sense of death, of emptiness, of nothingness. And this is what I connect to in the stillness, being with our stillness. Now, I want to connect this to what's happening right now globally. In Kabbalah, they talk about the specific numbers, the 6 and the 7, and then there's the 8 and the 9 and the 10. And these I kind of connect to the different dimensions that we also see ourselves moving through. So it's said that for 6,000 years we're in the 6. And the 6 are the 6 days of doing. And this I also see as the if we're talking about masculine and feminine, there's a lot of discussion around this, and Yaniv and I talk a lot about this as well as we're studying, and which part is the masculine and which part is the feminine, because on one hand the feminine is the creator, she's the doer, but she's not doing actively, she's doing from the internal, she's starting from the internal space, and the masculine is the one going out and doing. So when we talk about the way that the world has been so in the masculine, it's this overemphasis on the doing and the productivity, and that has turned into consumerism and destruction because it's been out of balance. So the internal is the starting point. The feminine is the starting point. The feminine is the being able to sit with the stillness, to sit with the being, and then for the manifestation to come from that. Now often I find in myself when I'm sitting and meditating and emptying out, this process of emptying out, I'm still waiting for what's going to come next. What comes after? What's the inspiration that will come to me? What will I create from this? And that's still focusing in a way on the masculine part, on the doing, on the needing. There's something attached to the sense of worth attached to the doing. And as a collective, we've been so attached to the doing. So now, okay, so we've been in the 6 days of doing, in the 6,000 years of doing. According to the Jewish calendar, we're now in the year 5,770, which is equivalent to Friday afternoon. It's like we're in the 6th century. 6th century, yeah. So we're going into the 7, and the 7 is Shabbat. But how do we do this collectively? We've been so used to doing. So now there's something really exciting about the fact that we're all being forced to go into our houses, to go inside. Sorry, I'm just seeing Ashley's comment. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Please comment and like this is a discussion, you know, it's something that I'm exploring all the time. Anyway, I'll get to that. So collectively, we're moving into the 7. We're moving into the phase of Shabbat. But we're so addicted to doing that it needs this emptying out process. And as part of the emptying out, all the stuff comes to the surface. And I see this in my practice. So for 1.5 years now, I've been keeping Shabbat. I've been Shomrei Shabbat. And that means there's lots of rules, but essentially the essence of it is that nothing can be created or destroyed. That to see that the world as it is perfect. And this is great and easy when we've done a lot of preparation, when we've cooked everything for Shabbat, when the right lights are on and the right temperature is on and everything's in its place, and then we can just enjoy the Shabbat. But what happens when the electricity cuts out suddenly? Or when we thought it was going to be warm but it's really cold and we didn't turn the heating on? Or when there might not be enough food? When unexpected things happen, the one rule that we've come to is, like the essence of halakha, of Jewish law, is that on Shabbat you cannot be angry. So this can be really challenging sometimes, and this is the, I think, what we're kind of passing through now as a collective. How do we be where we are with what we have and be happy with that? Just be happy. Just be with what is, because there is nothing more to do. And I see through this process of celebrating Shabbat, of being with Shabbat, that every week looks a bit different. Sometimes it's a very internal process. There are Shabbats where we decide we're going to have silence for the Shabbat. We also have a unique situation because every other Shabbat it's just Yaniv and I, and then the other Shabbat we have his children come to join us. So there's a really different dynamic playing on the Shabbats where it's just the two of us and where it's all 5 of us. It's a different experience when we have guests, when we're alone, dependent on the weather, dependent on what's happened. It's an amazing reflection of the week that has just come. Sometimes it's just an emptying out because we've been doing so much that we just need to be in the stillness and let everything process. To decide that what it means that nothing needs to be fixed isn't just that nothing on the outside needs to be fixed, nothing on the inside needs to be fixed. That for these 2 days, no matter what's going on in my mind, I don't need to get to engage at all with the process of how I can correct myself. It feels like a weight lifted off, giving ourselves permission to just be with what is, and for that to be perfect. So, as a collective now, I feel that this is what this process, and look, it's another 230 years before we come to the 7th century. So coming into the 7th, we're looking at a global scale here, but our work right now, as I see it, is learning. We're starting from scratch, and many of us have been prepared for this for a long time, and so it's a bit easier. And there are many people in the world who have never experienced just being. So a lot of stuff comes to the surface, and So what I'd like to do right now is to sit together in a meditation, an emptiness meditation. I know that everyone here probably meditates regularly, or at least has meditated. This meditation is really exploring choiceless awareness. So let's just all sit and close our eyes. Find a comfortable seat. Really feel yourself sitting on the earth, your legs beneath you, resting our hands on our legs. Just dropping into this space, being where we are. Coming to the breath. Feeling the breath coming in through the nose, traveling through the body and coming out of the nose. And just being with the rhythm of your own breath, not needing to change anything, not needing to do anything. Feeling the sensations in the body of the breath coming in and out. If you want to release with your voice, you can release with your voice. Noticing anywhere in the body that's holding tension. And allowing the breath to just touch those places. And just allowing your awareness to travel through the body. Just noticing where it travels to. Without force, without directing it. Without judging it. You might notice a lot moving around. Maybe the awareness is moving very fast from one place to another. Just following it, flowing with it. If it gets overwhelming, coming back to the breath. You might notice it getting stuck somewhere. Staying with a particular sensation, holding on to it. Focusing in. Allowing it to be there. Noticing what changes. Being with the rising and the falling. And if you notice thoughts starting to come about what you're experiencing, commentating, just coming back to the breath. Allowing that awareness to continue on its journey. As you go deeper and deeper, noticing the subtler movements, changing all the time. Holding it all in a space of perfection. It all is as it is. Just noticing what that experience is for you in your body. Just taking one more moment to just be with yourself, your experience, your awareness. And slowly bringing your hands to touch your body, touching your legs. Starting to move your body, touching your arms, giving yourself a hug. And slowly, when you're ready, opening your eyes. Hi. So I'd love to hear from anyone what you specifically experienced during that and how you connect that to emptiness. If anyone would like to share what came to me during it was that how can it be empty when there's so much? You know, sometimes we feel very still and very calm, and sometimes there's so much moving. Hila, everything is. Can you expand on that a little bit? Okay. Can you tell us a bit more about everything is for you? What I take from that is like everything just is as it is, and everything is moving and everything is changing all the time, so nothing, there's nothing solid. The phrase came, everything is perfect as it is. Ashley, I experience lots of ways that I'm analysing and trying to fix the world, and then I come back to myself and really enjoy the experience of just simply being, but so quickly my mind goes back to the fixing. Yeah, exactly. And it comes from such a beautiful place in us, you know, that we get this inspiration, that we want to give, that we want to help, that we want, you know, we see what there is in the world to be done. And it's something that I struggle with so much during the week, this feeling of like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do, how am I going to do it all? And focusing on staying present, staying with the thing that I'm doing, bringing joy to the thing that I'm doing. What I find with Shabbat is that it's this gift of there is nothing to be done. And whenever my mind goes to those places, it's like, no, remember, there's nothing to be done. You're not allowed. You're given permission to not do anything. And then it also allows for you to see what are the things that are really important. What are the things that are on loop for me? What are the things that are on loop? And what are the things that I really want to do that come from desire and kind of to set new intentions for my next doing? Let me just see some of these comments. Shani, so connecting the heart beating faster and slower, and then the breath, allowing that to slow down. So yeah, the connection between the breath and the body and so like this. So what Gillian was talking about is like the tension between control and allowing. Amazing. Yeah, totally. Yeah, this like, we have this such an instinct to choose. And again, it's amazing, setting intention, bringing in, deciding what we want to bring in, and at the same and feeling the energy of that. There's so much energy supporting that action, and at the same time, the Shabbat allows for the quite what Hilad's saying. It also allows for things to manifest from what you have been doing in the past 6 days. If you don't stop and keep changing things, you can't notice what has been done. Like pushing for something, then wanting to see the results, not pushing immediately to something else. Yeah. Giving the space. And giving the space for the miracles to happen. Giving the space for us to co-create. That if we're doing all the time, we don't see God's part in that. And this is the feminine. So the Shabbat is typically, I don't know what time, how long have I been going for? I haven't kept track of time at all. Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to say one more thing and then we'll finish. So Shabbat is the time of the Shekinah, which is the divine feminine, and this is a lot of the traditions of Shabbat, the lighting the candles, the Shalom Aleichem, the Eshet Chayil, it's all the bringing in the sacredness, the sacred protection, so that we can connect to the collective, which is the Shekinah. It's like the divine presence of existence. So if we see the masculine as God, as the creator, the Shekinah is the creation. It's all of nature. It's all of us. It's connecting to everything, and it's really beautiful. Shalom Aleichem is the prayer that says to the angels, you can take your time off now. You don't need to look after us right now, because right now we're directly looked after by God. Everything is sacred on Shabbat. Everything is safe on Shabbat. And we can connect to everything in existence and be one with everything. And at the same time be in that stillness in ourselves. Allow that oneness to come out from us. And to me, this is the divine feminine. The being with it all. The feeling in our bodies, the divinity. So when we can stop, and when we can allow, and when we can give that space, then we can really feel it. So I feel like now as a collective, it's so exciting that we're going through this together, and but it needs consciousness. We need to choose it. according to Kabbalah also, we've been at this round many times as humanity, like this 6 going into the 7, and what comes after the 7 is the 8, which is infinity. But we don't make it there usually. Well, we've never made it there before. Because the only way to get there is to do it collectively. We have to all be there. And so the job now is, and the more and more that we can embrace Shabbat in ourselves, it's a mental choice. It's not just the act of keeping Shabbat and keeping the rules. The rules are there to enable, to be the physical manifestation of the internal. And devoting one day a week to it kind of gives us this practice that it teaches, and I see in myself, it teaches me how to, the other days, do with intention and bring the stillness to the doing. And the more that we can do that and spread that out and help people to be with what is, first to be with what is, and then we can set intention. That is the challenge, as I see it. So, may we all find our internal Shabbat. May we all find our internal peace. May we pass through this time with ease and grace and love and support, and together move into the Eternal Shabbat, the time where we can just step back and see all that there is, and see that nothing needs to be done because it is perfect. I hope. Thank you for joining me. It was such a pleasure. So amazing to feel you all here with me. And wait, I just want to show you my belly before I go. Our baby is due any day now. So had to show. And I love you all. I love you all so much. Thank you. Thank you to Ashley and to Rachel and to Georgia for putting this together. And just sending so much love to you all. Bye.